All right, we're live. Take two.
We are back. Part two. Oh, there it is. There it is. Amazing. Let's pin this little baby up here. I think you're our first Canadian. I think the first Canadian, Jess.
How many times have you guys done this? That's a shame.
Yeah.
I lived in Canada for 10 years, so honorary.
Did you really?
Yeah.
No way. Whereabouts?
I was in the GTA.
Look at this guy. Amazing.
Shaun, where are you?
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta. It actually snowed here today somehow.
Yeah, you sound Albertan.
That can't be a compliment.
Well, there's all these people always, when I say I lived in Canada, no one in Toronto really talks. The Canadian accent is not Toronto. It's
No.
like Alberta or Calgary. So
Yeah.
Yeah, or the East Coast, East Coast.
Yeah, right.
Which is worse.
Amazing. What's been going on in your world, Jess? How you living? What's new? The beard looks good, by the way. Are you growing it out?
No, I'm just. It's just been the same length for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, things are good. Did you catch the Barry episode?
No, I need to go back and watch. Is this sensational? Because that was with the super smart gal. I can't ever pronounce her name.
Akvila.
Akvila, yes.
Yeah.
Did it land?
Good. Yeah, we did. We did a mini autopsy in there.
That's gas.
We had a tour shirt that was too hot for replay. It was too hot for TV. But Cody won it, so we'll see if he actually wears it.
I love it.
Too hot as in the crowd got upset, or too hot as in?
I think Barry got upset.
Oh
no! it was hot flash, and it was Barry opening. It was opening a trench coat, and it said hot flash HOTT.
That's so good.
What? Oh my gosh! I leave for one show, and that is amazing. Oh my gosh! Too hot as in just did him dirty. That's amazing, dude. I'm getting cooked in my Slack channels right now. This is the second or third week in a row that I've been memed. The pros and cons of having really smart people, and arguably my boss can meme as well as me, or even better.
Oh yeah.
So it's just he's a hitter. He's a hitter. Especially in private channel kind of stuff, not public facing. He's hilarious. Yeah. But are you coming out? Are you going Whaley's? You doing Whaley's, Jess? No.
Haven't planned on it.
Shaun, you going out to New York, Whaley's? No.
No, I boycotted it when you left. I was like, no, I'm out. I boycotted.
Yeah, what's the rule there? I wasn't sure what the standing boycott is or not.
Oh God, I love you guys.
No, it's probably a great event.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, they have 1 million tickets? I mean, it's really cool to see what they've done with it. So I'm excited to see where it all lands. It should be fun. Plus, New York's always a fun time.
Yeah.
I love New York City. Would never live there, but I love it in doses. I think it's a Tom Brady city. Whether you love it or hate it, it's undeniable.
Yeah. 100%.
Did they already pick all the potential winners and stuff?
I know the nominees. Yeah, I don't know the winners. Because we sponsored an award, to be transparent. Best Customer Experience Award. So Shreyas, our CTO and co-founder, will be giving it away.
But DTC show should be on there for best merch if you're running that category back again.
Right? Well, we also need to. I need to sync with you offline. Well, people that watch this show love us. We're in the works of getting an Austin HQ. So right now we're proper, the Fearless Leaders are out of SF, and then we have an office in New York, and then we're gonna get one in Austin. So we might have to do reruns, one-offs of all the ones you made, and hang them in the office.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because did you ever? Yeah, you made it to the. You saw the Triple Office, right? Because you were Creative-Palooza, and yeah, it wasn't terrible.
All right. 45 viewers. Let's start the show here.
Let's go.
It's the DTC Shoooooow. Jump right in, you better get on it fast so you don't miss anything with Rob and Jess. It's the latest news and some random guest. All your favorite segments that you are obsessed. Win some merch, be a part of the show. Get your ass up in the chat and let it all flow. So jump right in, there is so much to know. It's your number one marketing show.
Good time.
Feel good. Feels good to be back.
Jess?
Feels good to be back.
What's that?
Is that your mix, little garage mix you made there?
No. We hired professionals. I'll say I'm not at that level.
I feel like that's me and Taylor always talk about the dying space of jingle writers. Like, oh man, my dream consultancy would just be writing jingles.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, you might have a job if you need any extra money. We got you, Shaun. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you put that on your service list, Jess, and I'll just
That's
put it in
it.
the background.
So welcome back, everyone, to the D2C show, where we have the full crew. Rabba, you were out. Where were you last time?
I was in Aspen, Colorado for a little thing called D2Ski. Shout out No Commerce and Bar. They did an amazing job with that event. And also, I don't know if you all have been to Aspen. I've been to, I speak bougie fairly fluently, and I've been to some very nice areas in the world. I have never experienced a concentration of wealth like Aspen. Literally, the whole airport is PJs. There's like 3 people that live there, and they have like a designer row that rivals Fifth Avenue in New York. Like, I mean, it was truly staggering to see that much wealth. But yeah, the event was great, super fun. Great people, great times. Aspen was beautiful. Definitely on the tail end of the March Madness, though, so it was a little hard to appreciate because my kidneys, body was just starting to shut down at that point. But we got it done.
Well, great to have you back. We got a fun show. We got a CRO whiz kid, Shaun Brandt, on the show, which we'll introduce a little bit later. But just a reminder, this is a live show. If you're watching it live on YouTube, Twitter, wherever, feel free to get up in the chat. We love to hear what you have to say. And then we will be giving away merch. We give away a tour short every week. Here's the shirt.
Yes.
This week, the CRO full site tour. Going all your favorite places for homepage, navigation, PDP, Toronto, Ontario. Make sure you hit that up. But all you have to do is either share this tweet, like retweet it, or drop a comment in the chat, and we'll get you on the list for the end of the show for the draw.
Let's go. Get in that chat, people.
Shaun, CRO is pronounced crow, right? That's what I've heard.
I mean, yeah, I generally say crow. I never say CRO.
You do not say crow.
That's the only with a W. No, honestly, we avoid even saying the acronym CRO as much as we can. I don't know why. It's just when we launched Audit, it was like it wasn't even our purpose initially, and so we don't really talk about it that much. Believe it or not.
I'm trying to make crow happen, but it's not really a thing.
Yeah, it's not really landing for me, but the enthusiasm is great.
Appreciate it. All right, so getting into our very first segment here with Shaun, guest in 10 seconds.
Aren't we blessed to have the greatest guest? Let's hear your story in the 10 seconds that we have left.
Shaun, take it away.
All right, my background in 10 seconds? Is that what this is?
Yeah, well, 5 seconds now.
Oh my God. Okay, I had an agency for a...
Time's up, sounds amazing, but we gotta go. If you want to know more, check the description below.
Maybe next time, sorry,
Maybe
man.
next time I failed that miserably.
I have to tell you, Shaq was the worst. I thought it was going to be the record forever. I didn't know, like, you took us from the floor to the basement, so Well done there, sir. Well
I
done
was
there, sir.
expecting
Setting
the
records.
10 to start counting down on the screen, and I
You should the last show we had Actvilla, she did it. She did like the Micro Machines guy version of her thing. It's so fast. Yeah,
That's amazing. Perfect. And English is her second language too, right?
I don't even know. She's in LA, so I have no. I
thought she was bilingual. Never mind. Okay.
So I have no excuses.
All right, so moving on to news of the week.
It's your DTC News of the Week, the latest news with a spicy critique.
All right, so there's a lot of that people have been complaining about, a lot of things going on, and we'll get to some of that. But one thing that came up, what I thought was interesting. So this is from Adweek, and they're saying Mad Rabbit is pivoting as the looming TikTok ban comes into play.
Yeah.
And so we've been talking about this potential TikTok ban for a while, and no one knows like what's exactly going to happen, but we've kind of been saying it's just going to inject a lot of instability all over the place. And one of the things that Mad Rabbit is doing, because they use TikTok to test organic content.
Right.
But so it seems like they are pivoting towards Snapchat, posting there again, and also as the ad platform. And then I saw this other post from Connor at Ridge, where on his pod he's talking about how those guys and the Hexclad guys are seeing like not terrible results from Snapchat as a platform, even like click optimized campaigns. So I'm wondering, is this like the resurgence of Snap as a competitor now that, you know, people are just scared of they don't know what to do, and when instability creates action in people, you know.
This is an interesting take. Shaun, you can go first as the guest, and then I'll pile on from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, I mean, to be frank, I don't even have social media outside Twitter, and to be frank, didn't even know Snap still existed. But I think that what's interesting is if the ban doesn't happen and you have a bunch of these brands making this pivot early, you've got a little bit of a more open lane in some of these categories on TikTok and less competitors fighting for ad space. So it could be really interesting from that standpoint.
Or Shaun, do you feel like with all these like instability in these platforms, you don't know what's happening, or these channels, like one channel that you can control or you have more stability is CRO. And it's like, I wonder if people are like, with so much instability, let's refocus inward on something that I can actually do. And do you see that type of sentiment from your clients?
I mean, everyone that we talk to, it's the same conversation with all of them, and it's honestly, we're verbatim saying a lot of the same stuff when we're trying to talk like and introduce CRO, because a lot of them are their first time they're even thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And how I always put it, and how we got into CRO was as a UX background person. When I first got into performance marketing and we started Coolin, I was just so blown away because I'd never been in that space at all the customers coming through that were spending 50, 100, 500K a month on paid media. And almost nothing on their site once it went live. And for me, that paid ad is one step, and then the website is the next 9 steps in a lot of cases. So the imbalance of spend was just crazy to me. So I always, no matter what platform you're advertising on, whether it's TikTok, Snap, whatever, it's only step 1. So yeah, to your point, those other 9 steps of landing on the homepage, finding what you want, clicking there, going to a collection, going like those steps before they get their credit card in and hit purchase, like those are 90% of the battle. The ad is 10%. So I think, pivot around, figure out what works for you, you know, try and get away from something shutting down, especially if all your revenue and traffic's coming from there. But there's always got to be a focus on the site.
Yep.
And I would add to that, but also push back a little bit in saying that the site's performance is not only a function of conversion rate, but conversion rate's a function of traffic.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you can have the highest, like the most optimized site on the planet, ain't nobody looking at it, don't fucking matter. And so I think one of the challenges is balancing, you know what I mean? How do I get traffic to the site? And then how do I make the most out of that traffic? But I think where TikTok, Snap, all these things is like, that's how you can get traffic from the site or to the site, if that makes sense. I do think it's interesting because as much as like, quote unquote, these seems like pivots, there's really not a lot of lock-in, especially with TikTok, because TikTok, like, that's kind of a feature or a bug, depending on how you look at it. Like, everybody can buy a lottery ticket because it's not really ingrained in your personals, ingrained in your past performance. Like, that's what you've seen with Facebook, right? Like, all these incumbents just get, I mean, Facebook organic sharing is essentially dead. It's the incumbents just take all the juice, but then those incumbents don't really have any incentive to get better because no matter what they do, they're just going to get the lion's share of the impressions, where TikTok is not like that. And I think Snapchat's quasi interesting, I guess, because again, I mean, there is definitely a certain aspect of like cost is 3 vectors: focus, expense, and bandwidth. But like, if you're just creating these short form videos and doing a little bit of spray and pray across Snapchat and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, like, I don't see how that is too risky, or, you know, it doesn't really increase the cost or that literal expense per se, if that makes sense. And so I don't know. I think it's interesting. I do think the TikTok stuff is super interesting because if you do ban that, then you have this monster economic pressure that needs to be released somewhere else. So does that mean Instagram Reels? Does that mean Snapchat, to your point, Jess? And so, I mean, not investment advice, but Snapchat has absolutely just taken just the haircut of haircuts. I'm looking at the stock price right now, but I mean, it's not great, put it that way. And so could this be, you know, to your point, a resurgence in terms of like, I mean, year to date, it's down 31%. It's the market cap is around, I mean, it's still not a nothing company though, 18 billion, 2 billion, but so that's where I land.
So it's not just advertisers or brands that are nervous. It's creators who are nervous, and they might be diversifying to Snap and putting more content on there, and they can also bring some of their audience like with them, you know, to Snap as well. And so there might be more inventory there, and then less competition because advertisers are not paying attention. So there might be some delta of opportunity for people to jump on the Snap chain in the short term.
Yeah, this is exactly right. And this is why YouTube went so hard on creators. TikTok did quasi more of like a head fake than actually paying out. But YouTube did pay out a ton of people. And that's where I think Threads missed, where like none of these platforms, especially if they're not really like one-to-one social, like the OG Paths of the world or something like that, you need the best creators on there. Like that, the best creators are going to generate the best content. The best content's going to generate the most lock-in, the best engagement metrics, et cetera. So I think that's exactly right, Jess.
All right. Let's see what else is going on. So we've had some tough times with Meta pretty much since February.
Yep.
And since some sort of major overspending bug, and then that seems to have like repercussions in the algorithm, and everyone's just kind of like freaking out. David Herman here, love David, says performance is improving. We are so back, but at the same, like this very same day, Meta shit the bed again. And so like I couldn't even like log in for half the day. So I don't know if anyone has insider information, but a lot of our clients are starting to feel like things are getting better. But even like this level of instability is just such a mental tax on brands and media buyers, and it's just challenging week after week, now month after month. I'm curious if this is like if you feel like we are getting better, or is this like the new normal?
Yeah, if there's anybody in the chat as well, pop in, let us know what you had. Man, I'm a little farther away from it than I used to be, so I don't have the anger that I used to have. So I'll caveat with that. But there's a certain aspect of, one, bitching ain't switching. Like Facebook is still the king queen of the paid media world by an astronomical amount, and there's very little indications that that's going to change. I will say that in the macro, like if you plotted all these kind of outages and stuff like that, they're probably still within the quote unquote SLA of like a 90% uptime. So that's the challenge there. Like it feels bigger than it is. But at the same time, like, let me analogize here. Like I shit on American Airlines all the time because they're terrible and I have to use them because they're a geographic monopoly in Austin. But like, if something bad happens, instantly I tweet about it, right? Mm-hmm. But like the last 2 flights were on time, service was fine. Like I didn't say shit, right? And so I think there's a certain aspect of possibly a loud minority. Plus, it's our ecosystem. I will say it is a bit disheartening, but I don't know. I just like. What are you going to do? I think that's the biggest challenge is like, there's scream from the rooftops. I mean, Klaviyo, another big publicly traded company right now, also went down. So people build software and people aren't perfect, but I do understand the angst and the anger, and like, this is a core to a lot of people's businesses. And I talked to a bunch of people in this space, and the last 2 weeks have been fairly tumultuous, even for people that are on accounts that are screaming. So, is it the new normal? I don't know, but it's definitely worrisome, especially too as we get into the summer months of like the really paltry, dry. People are traveling, people aren't on social as much, people aren't spending as much money. So you're trying to really get that butterfly net out now and get as much money as you can. So it's definitely an uphill battle.
So Alex in the chat said Robert-isms on the bitchin' ain't switching, and what's interesting is the more you listen to Robert, to your content elsewhere, you're more like, oh, that's a Robert-ism, and then it becomes like 10% of your talk is Robert-isms, and then 20 and 30%, and now it's like it's like 90% of Robert-isms, and then 10% of freestyle.
I need like a gong feature, right? My percent of Robert-isms in the conversation.
All right. So I'll push back a little bit on what you said, because it's not the SLA uptime. It's the algorithm's performance. Like performance is just bad, even when it's not up. Or when it's not down or whatever. And so I think I'm with David Herman in that I have massive optimism that things are improving, because that's all I can do in this monopoly environment. It's just like hope and pray. And so that's why like things like moving to Snap is interesting, because I'm always desperately looking for some competitor where bitching can be switching. Like that's what an ideal market is.
Correct. Yes. No, that's absolutely correct. And I think you're in a really awesome place that you have the bandwidth, the strategy brain, and the ability to make that move. The challenge is when you're in those, like that kind of 1 to 10 million, like master Facebook, get your Google on, you know what I mean? Like there's just so much meat on the bone in Facebook. And so that's the challenge with that, I think, is it makes sense, but it's hard when you're resource constrained to say, oh, just bolt on another channel. Let's just do another channel. You know what I mean? So, but I'm with you. I think people at the end of the day should be diversifying as much as possible. So I'm kind of talking out both sides of my mouth, but I don't know. I think the other thing too is one of the awesome things when you are smaller and growing is like, just go to where your people are. Like, and then once you do have resources, then you can do this channel expansion stuff. So, you don't have to be everywhere to everyone, but be really impactful in the things that you do. And then as you get more resources, because you're in that scale space, Jess, of like you're trying to bolt on more revenue other places because you're already spending so much on Meta. But that'd be kind of my little TED talk. Make sure you subscribe.
On the ad side, because you're obviously a lot closer to this side, Jess, than I would be, but from like optics, looking at how, I see all the same tweets you do from people complaining about performance, and maybe it's just me, but I never ever see anyone complain about the performance of their ads. They're complaining about the performance of the platform. Is that just
it's a scapegoat, right?
Yeah, everyone wants to push it off on Facebook or TikTok or whatever, but no one's ever talking about the fact that, hey, maybe my ads just suck, or I'm just targeting like. Why is that not part of the conversation? Is that just people wanting to pass the buck and blame, and that's just how they use Twitter, or like is that reality? They just no one ever looks inside and says, well, maybe our ads just suck.
So it depends on the data that you're looking at. If you're a single brand and you see lower performance, it's very easy to be like, oh, this is my ad. But since we're an agency and see multiple accounts, when multiple accounts are all suffering and we're doing the same ad content, it's easier to scapegoat, I guess. Yeah. And no one wants to be like economic fact. I mean, like you don't want to do the scapegoat, but when talking to clients, it is a thing, unfortunately, the platform in general. And so it is what it is. But Shaun, Rashab in the chat says like, going to Snap or TikTok won't help. There's worse data. I'm curious on the CRO side, because like it can be hard to do CRO when you have multiple platforms sending different types of data. Yes. Like the conversion on Meta is going to be so much different than the conversion on TikTok and Snap. So how do you work with clients, or how do you talk about how those different things, because at the end of the day, like brands are seeing the Shopify conversion rate number in their dashboard, which is an amalgamation of like a million different things. So how do you talk to brands about that?
I think one of the main things we try and drive home, because we're so surface level, because we're actually just working on the experience of the site, is, and where most of the brands are missing the mark right now, is regardless where it's coming from, what the ad is, they're not telling a consistent story arc from ad to kind of final destination. So it's like you're reading a book and it's like the ad is page 1, and then they get to the site and they're suddenly on page 6, right? And they're like, fuck, what just happened in those other? And so what we're really pushing is like, if you're sending multiple different ads, sets in different platforms or different strategies, those need to be going to different places or more catered places, whether it's a landing page, whether it's an augmentation of a product page. But that story arc from, I told them this about the product and now I'm following up with this on the next page, is the most important part, right? Not saying, here's what is really interesting about this, and then they land on the landing page and it says the exact same thing. Like, no, take them to step 2 in the story. Don't just say the same shit again and again. And so I think a big part of CRO on site is mostly content. It's not even UX. It's telling a consistent story arc from ad across, excuse me, to the website.
Yeah, well, I do like that take.
Can I throw, because I want to throw, since we do have the CRO whiz here, I have a thesis, and obviously this is a little bit homer pick because this is literally also the firm out thesis, but your website has to be average. Like your website is the thing that it needs to appeal to as many people as possible. And that's why having what you're talking about, Shaun, like I think like the big thesis I have is that the website's going to get deprecated to basically a system of record. And instead of running like this funnel, what you're going to do now is run more of like this starfish, like a hub and spoke model, where you have these unique conversion paths that you have, where you have your ad, you have your personalized lander, you have your cart, your personalized cart, you have your custom PDPs, and then you convert. And then your website is essentially the person you take home to mom, where it's like, okay, cool. It's for your brand equity. It's for your returning revenue. It's like, okay, cool. But it's not how you, you really handcuff, I think, a lot of your acquisition and retention teams, because for all the reasons you just pointed out, Shaun, right? Like if I have this incredible banger, or like I have this awesome, for a crude analogy, like this great hit line that I get the person to come on a date with me, and then I'm just terrible on the date, terrible conversation. I listen to Nickelback, I smell bad, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so you're wasting all this juice versus like if you can have this nice cohesive experience, but at the same time, like you can't do that on your website because you want to use the thing that resonates with everybody on your website, aka the average. But there's these smaller places where instead of having to hit these home runs all the time, if you can just aggregate doubles, singles, doubles all the time and have the right message for the right, whether it's personas, job to be done, value props, whatever, where that person's at on their customer journey, I think what happens is you get closer to sales than you do marketing, right? Because I consider marketing is one to many and sales is one to one. And now if I can speak, you're literally not speaking one to one to this person, but one to one to either this persona, job to be done, or whatever. I think it lands a lot more. And I think that that's going to be where the killers in acquisition and retention go, especially too as convoluted as the space of conversion is getting. It's like thinking through your own conversion path and you can test it. So anyway, that's my soapbox speech on that, because I couldn't agree with you more, Shaun. I think you're absolutely right.
And I think, this doesn't help my cause at all, but like a lot of the brands out there that are just hopping into Shopify and hiring an agency to customize a theme for them and spending 50 grand to get that site up, they don't even need a website. They could probably get by with just getting 3 landing page templates and they'd be fine. The top 1.5% actually make sales based on brand. The other 99.9 or 5 they're just making sales based on they got someone into an ad. And that should be the focus of that user journey, not get them bought into the brand and this huge story. Like most of the brands we see popping up, their lifespan will be 2 years. And that's okay, right? Get in, make your money, hit the brand, and get the fuck out. Don't burn 100 grand on a website when you can probably be sufficient with a landing page.
Yeah, I'll push back a little bit. Where
give it. I love the just pushback.
If you can direct someone to exactly where you want them to go, then you don't need a website. But there's a lot of organic stuff, and stuff goes viral, and they're not always gonna click the link in the bio or whatever. So they're gonna Google it. Some snippet of a brand and end up on the homepage.
No, organic and website traffic, couldn't agree with you more. Or organic and direct, absolutely. I'm talking it through the lens of acquisition and retention. But I totally agree with you, and that's what the website's for. Organic, direct traffic. Again, this is our brand bastion. This is how I want everyone to perceive me. Again, taking home to mom. But then I can have these trust tree acquisition paths of like, I can say things that might be, off brand or whatever, or I can also give people deals that I don't want to give to everybody because they're at a different point in their customer journey. Like one of the worst things you can do is give massive discounts to the people that give you the most money. Like, why would you want to do that? But if you have somebody that hasn't bought from you in 6 months, throw them a 30% off or whatever, see if they bite on that. And so that's where I think you just get all this flexibility when you have this hub and spoke model. The other analogy I've been using is like Earth is like your website. Earth is bound by like the physics of Earth. And so there's only so much you can do there, right? Whereas what you can do if you're starting to launch a bunch of landing pages with Firmout or whatever you're using, you can build these constellation sites that are no longer adhering to the physics of Earth. And so
you stole that from Rashab, right?
No, I actually gave it to him. He hates it, so he's going to be mad that I use it.
Yeah,
errors in the gravitational field there. So
yeah, he's a physicist,
Yeah. So let's move on to what we were talking about, or you briefly mentioned Klaviyo. Klaviyo, not known for going down last week. It went down for like the morning, which was an issue for certainly sending emails if you rely on that. But the bigger thing that people are talking about Klaviyo now is their new pricing structure.
Yep.
And so Jimmy Kim, who runs SendLane, right?
Yep.
So you said, just heard from an AG partner that clients are seeing bills increase 3x or more. You shouldn't have to pay for contracts in 2024. And so Klaviyo is now, I guess they are enforcing this active profile count on your plan. And if you're over it, you have to go into a higher subscription. And they're a public company now. They need to make money. Is this... And they're also like the biggest player, so they're an easy target as well. Robert, should people be upset that people have to pay to use the platform as intended, or like what's going on?
I mean, I'll give you my marketing answer, and then I'll give you my economics answer. The marketing answer is, I think this is a messaging issue. Where you just need to frame it of like, hey, it's kind of what Netflix did a little bit when they kind of cracked down on their password sharing, and there's a grace period and you understand what's going on. Like, I think on the marketing side, it's a bit of a messaging issue. On the economic side, dude, this is one of the like hallmarks of a great business. Can you raise prices? And like, again, Netflix did it. Like, eventually you're going to start to have to walk down that path. And, I think it's great. To your point, it makes room for other players. I just find the challenge in these spaces And don't get me wrong, I love Jimmy, I love SendLane, I love everything they're doing over there. But when you are almost going back to like Snapchat, when you are trying to compete with somebody that is just like endless pockets, even if you do find something that's amazing or innovative, like they're just going to rip it off. And that's literally what Facebook did to Snapchat, where like Snapchat was essentially Facebook's R&D department. And then they saw an amazing feature. They could take that feature and then plug it in, see if it works. And then they also have the infrastructure because their ad tech is incredibly superior to that. So I think that's the big challenge with trying to take on incumbents in verticals where it's very difficult to generate product differentiation, is just like, what do you do? And so I think for Klaviyo, it's, again, it's a bit of the bitch and ain't switching. Like, if you have all your flows in Klaviyo, you're doing all this stuff and you're still making a bunch of money and it's a 10% bump or something, or a 20% bump, you're like, all right, you just normalize to the new economics because I'm generating $1 million a year or $1 million a month or whatever it is from my email campaigns. And I already have the SOPs. I already have all this lock-in. So I think it could be better messaging for sure. And I love the fact that like this gives openings to send lanes of the world and things like that, but I'm just very bearish on anything that can't have some semblance of a product differentiator, because you just get got, you know what I mean? I'm just going to buy it or build it, just copy and build it. And there's really nothing, there's no recourse you can do, because very rarely is it patentable or it's IP. It's just like, oh, this is a really cool take and an awesome way to do it. And then it gets out and then they steal it. So that was a big, long diatribe.
I think too, like from the Klaviyo standpoint, it's hard to argue with it, because at least from my perspective, like I'll take one customer paying $10,000 over 10 paying $1,000 every day, and I'm sure most businesses will, right? It's less client management, it's less bullshit, less resources needed for client services. Like, they're not idiots. They're making this decision knowing people will leave, and that's okay, right? Because their LTV of everyone that stays is going up more than the people that are leaving. And that's really all that matters, especially for a public company.
And also the ROI on email is already bananas. So like your email goes up 3 times and it's now, you go from like a 54 ROI to a friggin' 39. It's not the end of the world. But what I think what's happening here is there's a lot of confusion about the actual pricing terms that Klaviyo has rolled out. So I think Jimmy is absolutely right that people shouldn't have to pay for contacts. In Klaviyo, you pay for 2 things at the same tier: a number of contacts and a number of sent emails. Paying for contacts is kind of bullshit. It doesn't cost Klaviyo anything to hold those contacts. Paying for emails makes sense. And so this is an example of Klaviyo's pricing. If 630,000 active profiles, and you can send 10 times as many emails, so 6 million emails. Basically, this is like you can send to your whole list 10 times per month. I think the issue is if you have running up to an issue where you have too many active profiles, your email program is broken, because first of all, you should be cleansing that list significantly on a constant basis, and the limit you should be hitting up against is the number of emails, because you don't make money having a contact. You make money sending an email. So for our clients, we're constantly at the limit of sent emails, but well under the limit of active profiles. And I feel like that is the way you should be operating.
And this is a perfect example of, this would have been a great mediator of like, hey, here's what we're doing, here's how we're charging, and by the way, we're gonna, like what Slack does. Hey, you haven't been in this channel for a while. Do you want to purge? And every month we're gonna go through and say, hey, you haven't sent any of these contacts for. We're not gonna delete them, but we'll just archive them. If for whatever reason you want to bring these back, let's go. And then you start to get, because dude. Pricing, most people very rarely care about the absolute, but they care about being treated fairly. And so if I can just tell you that, these are the reasons why we're charging you more money, if it passes the sniff test and it's fair, it's like, okay, cool. But when you're talking about ambiguity, when you're talking about, well, what happens now? I don't know what's going to happen. Well, why am I paying for this? Why? Like that to me, again, is a messaging marketing issue that they could have done a way better job with. And they could have got in front of this, right? If they talk to their big partners, if they talk to these people. And I think that this is just, a microcosm of you're just a monster now. And like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And it just is what it is. But okay, what do we got? We got boss's prerogative coming in. Okay. From the peanut gallery with 3, an Ivy and a Stanford and MIT degree, whatever. Jess, I disagree. They want to be viewed as a CDP, so charging on contacts is a way for them to force you to view them as a CDP. I get value from contacts, CDP, separate issue. I do see what Rashib is saying there. I think the challenge with the CDP play is a CDP doesn't make you money. Email makes you money. A CDP can help power better email, which is fantastic. But like, I think that's the challenge there. And again, it's just a messaging issue. So I think I agree with Rashib in the macro, but I agree with you also, Jess. So it's kind of a bit of a paradox. Where do you land?
Me?
Yeah. Like, what do you think of that? Do you guys like use the CDP?
No, we
really.
don't really, but,
Okay.
So I've gotten some messages that some of the comments like from various places are not coming into the live stream, so I do apologize for that.
Oh no,
it's just a glitch in this our EV Mux, but I wanted to move on to the next segment here.
Let's do it.
Survivor.
Says survivor, there can be only one software provider.
So Shaun, this is a segment where we've been curating this list of only 10 SaaS programs that we use to run and power our business or our brand's business or whatever. Guests have been adding things to it. Everything that gets added needs to get taken away. I'd love to have you on here because it feels like there's a lot of new tools in the CRO space, or maybe there's old tools that you really use, but there's nothing on this list that's really CRO focused. So I'm curious if there's tools that need to be added to this particular list from a CRO perspective.
let's go. Who you voting off?
That's right. I got to vote one off and add one. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we could. So the guest, Barry put friggin' Creative OS, and he makes money off that. So we can just get this.
That is the most Barry thing ever. I love it.
Of course.
I will. Just on the Creative OS note, we're actually working on a bunch of rad landing page templates for Creative OS to kind of expand their product suite.
Let's go.
That would be helpful.
Well, we're not sending Barry any more leads, so
none.
It's gone.
No, in terms of CRO, honestly, this is self-fulfilling because we deal with a lot of customers that use this in our kind of space, but I don't see any heat mapping tools on here unless I just don't know.
No.
Like a lot of customers focus so much on the actual like conversion data and rather than just actually looking what people are doing on their site.
Mm-hmm.
And you really don't need a ton of heat map data to see like, oh, an area of your site's not being touched or this area is being really hovered on. You should probably expand on this or dive deeper into this. Heat map is a great tool. I mean, they're all very similar.
Yeah.
In terms of like what's possible with them. They're not crazy priced. So there's no like front and away winner. We have a great partnership with Heatmap, so I would say them, and they show a little.
Is that heatmap.com? Is that what it is?
And Chase is over there, so he'll take good care of you. But like for me, the big application there is it's really digestible data. So like I always find that in this space, everyone's really diving into the data in a way that honestly speaks above me a lot of the times, even from our background. And I find that heat maps can kind of speak to anyone. You don't need to be some marketing nerd or a UX nerd to understand it. You're just literally seeing red spaces and green spaces. And
right.
The story kind of tells itself. And so for me, in terms of the everyday, store owner, it's the most powerful tool you can have especially when you're just starting out.
Interesting. I have a problem with the CRO industry in general, just because I feel like there's two phases. There's the analysis, and then there's the action phase. And so much of the industry is based on the analysis phase. And these heat mapping tools can be like, oh yeah, there's there's more red here, or there's
Yeah.
not enough red here. But like, what is the actions? There's not enough tools that dive into like, what do I do? What do I do? How do I fix this? How do I change my site?
And honestly, it's a huge problem that we've talked to with multiple heat map tools before of like, why aren't we integrating audit even as a tool within that to say, okay, this area is by far the worst area. Like here's literally open a chatbot with audit and they can give you some tips on how do you assess this? What is this saying? What is this telling you? Because you're totally right, Jess. It's not, you can't just surface things and be like, well, that's bad. Like you got to get some actionable like insights into what to change. I think on the plus side though, like most customers and most shops out there see CRO as this insane investment you have to make. And for the most part, 90% of the changes that are going to move the needle, they're imagery and copy. So like your CRO plan should not be super dev heavy. If you have a total crap store that you've had for a decade that you built from, popsicle sticks, sure, it's going to be a dev task. But for the most part, the changes you need to make are copywriting and imagery. And if you can't do those with your own team and Canva, you probably shouldn't have an e-commerce store anyway. So
fair.
I agree identifying them and figuring out what those, red and green areas mean is important, and it's not being done well right now. But I think for the most part, people shy away from CRO because the people talking about it on Twitter so much, they make it, even us, right? We make it look like it's going to be really difficult because that's part of our job is making things look beautiful, but it doesn't have to be, right? It's mostly copy that's the most important, not making it look perfect and really, really beautiful.
So have you heard of the tool IntelliGems? Because that's something we're going to be onboarding in the next few weeks.
Drew and oh my gosh, I'm gonna cook myself. The other co-founder, they're great dudes.
Yeah, we have a ton of customers that are using it and are super happy. I haven't personally been in there like running tests with it or anything, but I've heard nothing but good things. And we've made quite a few intros to them as like whenever a customer asks for what tool to use, we kind of have a few different agencies or like we don't really play favorites in that space. It's more just like find what's best for you. But yeah, I personally have heard nothing but good things.
Okay, great. Well, I want to make sure we have enough time for the next few segments, so let's just dive right into them.
So who got voted off?
Don't call it grow, cause it's conversion rate optimization with Shaun.
Barry got bounced. That's who got bounced.
Oh, that's right. What was Toggle or Poggle or what was that thing?
Akvila put that on there. It's a time tracking. She does like very literal time tracking and then does like a weekly recap of how many minutes she spent in email and stuff like that.
Yeah, I use Rescue Time. But anyways, it's great. It's great. Awesome. Good stuff. Okay. Crow about it.
So we're making it a thing. What can I say? Shaun, you've been in the CRO industry for a while. Always curious to have these expert guests on here. And can you elaborate on like how the CRO has changed recently, maybe like in the next 18 months, and also where it might go in the next 18 months, or are people like overthinking it and people are just overcomplicating it and it should be back to basics? I'm not sure, but like you know more than us, so.
Yeah, I think in the last 18 months, it's definitely shifted a lot. There's definitely a bigger lens on it. Hearing about it, more people are interested in it. I think what isn't really changing is people are still, like I said, super fearful of the cost of it. If you're working with a CRO agency to run like A/B tests constantly, it can be really costly and really, to be honest, ineffective in a lot of ways. I think one thing that I'm seeing is people coming to terms with the fact that you really do need a shit ton of traffic and data for it to be effective and to run those tests properly. So I think CRO from a traditional standpoint, even 18 months ago, was viewed as like, pick a test, change something, run the test, get statistical significance, and, implement the winner. And I think it's shifting more to be a broader conversation around just how are we making things more clear. And that's really what we push, and we try and do our best to like educate our customers on it and educate even people that just come in and want to chat, not customers, on just like the things that we're recommending. They're not abstract ideas or stuff that we have insane knowledge on. We're just really good at understanding the customer journey, customer understanding of things, and making things really easy to digest. That's like the main thing in CRO that you need to understand is just most brands and most teams are so close to their products, including their marketing teams. You look at it so much that you miss really, really simple things. And, I always use this example with our customers when we're talking about CRO. Like, we used to work with, in my previous life, a ton of Fortune 500 brands, and they have a lot of data. And usually the changes that worked were the ones that we would send the experience to 5 user tests on usertest.com. It could be a 70-year-old grandmother, a 15-year-old kid. Didn't matter. The user did not matter. All that it was showing was within those 5 tests, where do people get stuck, right? Where did they?
Yep.
And as long as they had the goal of like, okay, go buy this, that's what you're trying to do, and you're watching them on a video go through it, you can get most of the CRO shit you need for your website by doing that exact same thing. Go to usertesting.com, get 5 slots, 10 slots, and get 10 people to go through and finish a task that you've assigned them. That's honestly what most brands need to do for CRO. It's not hire audit. It's not hire a CRO firm. It's just get back to basics and just be able to step away and let a complete stranger go through and see where they get stuck. That's the most effective thing you can do.
So the testing aspect of CRO, I forgot, is another frustration I've definitely had. And I've gone from like, you need to have statistically significant results. And that can be expensive because you need that on purchases. It's not on clicks, Yeah. And so I've gone from like, you need to have this data. This is the best data. To wow, this is going to take forever, and this is expensive. And now let's do multivariate, and let's just test all the things and hope the conversion rate goes up, because it almost feels like it's faster or easier or better. I'm curious about where you land there.
Yeah, it's always tough with statistical significance, because especially with the way brands are set up these days, and every time a new brand launches, like let's just rewind 5 years ago, we're seeing brands pop up and 50% of their presence is organic. Yep. Now it's like, I can't think of the last time I talked to a brand and we talked to, let's say, 30 a week, that they were more than 10% organic, right? Yep. So you're dealing with customers, which makes conversion really hard. You're dealing with customers who are on a social platform like TikTok, Instagram, Snap, whatever, where the entire experience is designed to the millisecond to get you to consume more, right? More and more and more. And so when they come from that mindset of literally there's something like this, not this, it's fast, fast, fast. When they get to your site, they're almost in that mindset and they're moving fast. And so that's why I feel like testing is becoming harder and harder, because these users are in the mindset of like, you grab me in half a second or I'm gone. And so it becomes really hard to test things, because a lot of them, and your heat map will show you this, they're not getting past the header on most pages. They're not scrolling because you haven't grabbed their attention in the first few seconds. So I think it's the focus for me, at least on CRO testing, and where people could focus more, is stop thinking about how do we optimize our site, and start thinking more about how do I optimize where they're actually spending time, which is where it's valuable, right? Which by the third fold, it's like 30% of your traffic is getting there. So like, why even just focus on those key areas instead of trying to optimize the site. Optimize where people are on the site.
Yeah. 80-20 rule,
Yeah. Pareto principle. Let's go.
Love it. All right, so let's give some merch away here.
Let's do it. We got some
chat so fresh, chat putting in work. Who in the chat is gonna win this merch?
All right. You got to update. It updated. We got a bunch of people in here. Oh, these are some hitters. This is like a top floor marketing team.
And I apologize if you commented on Twitter something and it didn't come through in the chat. It is what it is. Catch it next week. But got a bunch of people here. We got one giveaway, so high stakes.
Oh, wow. Drum roll, please. We need to start having odds. We can have odds to bet. Maybe do a bet US or something. Get a little. Oh, amazing!
Sapphire Rosetta.
Oh, amazing! I'm gonna creep on her on Twitter. Let's see what's going on with him. I don't know. Rosetta. Amazing.
And Shaun, we'll send you this shirt. Of course, so you have it.
Oh, another Canadian. You see, Shaun, you're bringing them all in. Amazing. A Canadian came on as the guest. A Canadian won the prize. Jess is 10-year Canadian. I can smell the maple syrup.
We have 2 tour dates on the full site tour in Canada too.
That's amazing. To be fair, Chase, you made it on the SAS Survivor, which I would argue you're happier about than getting the T-shirt. Amazing.
Yeah, and Chase and Alan, you know this. The wheel is rigged, so sorry. If you want to win next time, you know who to talk to.
Exactly. We'll send you the routing number.
All right, last segment here.
Whoop whoop, that's the sound of the police. Robbers on the loose and it's stabbing you peace.
Yeah, so I'll be quick. The few things I purchased. One was, did I talk about my little fancy charger yet? The travel charger thing? Okay, there's this incredible charger. We'll drop it in links. I purchased that. Incredible, 100%. I ended up buying another fancy light switch from Iotti. They're gorgeous, these little Italian things. They hit me with the Easter offer. I'm not even religious, but they hit me with the 25% Easter offer, and I was just like, God, let me slide in those. And then I have, what do I have next? I have a beautiful, actually, candle that Phil sent me that I need to open up. And then the last thing is bought a standing ashtray from Houseplant. I haven't gotten it yet, but from the Seth Rogen brand. It's really cool. So I'm really excited about that.
Do you use smart lights too, right?
Oh, I'm everything, dude. My whole my whole house, my blinds, my apartment. But I use they're called Rise, RYSE.
Oh yeah.
And then you can just kind of retrofit if you have I have the blinds with the the ball strings kind of thing. I have that. All my music is through Echoes, so I have Echoes through the house. All my lights are smart lights, everything. And what's cool is if you get really nerdy, you can have these really verbose kind of routines in the Alexa app. So I'll say, it's actually called something else. So I can say, sorry if people are listening and they have, I'll say the A name and then good night or good morning or vibes, and it'll set the mood in the whole house kind of thing. The doors, the AC, everything is all smart home. So I'm living in a bit of a cancer box, but it's so convenient. And voice is such an incredible medium for the right job. Being able to just be on the couch and dim the light to 20% or do that, it's phenomenal. So smart home, definitely worth it. And a lot of the stuff I have is not, you don't need to build it with the home, if that makes sense. It's basically you can retrofit on all the stuff.
So Nicole mentioned in the chat the Stream Deck. Do you have that yet?
I have the Rodecaster Duo. I didn't get the Stream Deck yet. I'm still working my way through the Duo because I take it with me when I travel because it's a mobile podcast studio.
It's a Duo.
It's like the mini guy. I can't pull it up, but it's basically like a mixer. So I can put 2 XLRs into it. You can connect a USB. You can connect phone. It's the budget version of the Rodecaster, the big Rodecaster. So it's a mini or it's called the Duo. It's really nice.
I've seen a lot of connected home pros get the Stream Deck because there's a million buttons on it, and so you can program the buttons to anything you want. So sometimes if you just need a button, it's easy to call up.
Oh yeah, okay, The king doesn't lift his hand. I just speak to my servants. What am I gotta touch this gross, soft plastic thing that probably has disease on it from all the plebes coming in here? No, come on.
I hear you. My home's pretty smart as well. We're in the Hue, not Philips Hue, but Philips Whiz light bulb ecosystem. I kind of hate it, so I'm looking for something else.
Yeah, dude, the light bulbs don't matter that much. I will say the Hues are the best ones that I've found, but they're crazy expensive, it doesn't make sense. But because I have everything, I have the little Hue Rock because I have it like behind my mirror to like have the ambiance. I have the little lights to have like ambiance behind furniture and stuff. So it's expensive, but I also have like the cheap people lights too, because I just don't need that.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, and I'll wrap it up here, is there's cool light switches that you can buy that can also basically mimic smart lights. And so that, like, my bathroom has like a motion sensor, but it's also a smart light, so I can talk to it. All my like fans and stuff are controlled through these smart switches, so that way I don't have to get like a smart fan. And so you can say, turn the fan on, turn the fan off, dim the art light, blah blah blah. So yeah, we can jam offline because I can get pretty nerdy on this stuff, but. Y'all are great. Y'all are great. I am a Taurus, by the way, Nicole. So that's that's a good call out there. That's pretty good.
Can predict anyone's sign with probably 95% accuracy.
That's pretty incredible, honestly. It's pretty amazing. Well, thank you everybody for joining with us. Man, we're 5 minutes over, but gosh, if I would spend 5 more minutes with people, it'd be you two.
Thanks everyone in the chat for tuning in. 297 viewers. That's just shy of our Shaq record.
We can't let him live that. He didn't hear this. He did just have his kid though. So shout out to him and his wifey. Congrats. Kingsley Shackelford came into the world safely. Well done there. And then Safia, I hope I'm not butchering that. Make sure to either reach out to me or Jess to get you your swag. We'll send it up to Montreal, Canada, it looks like. All right. French Canadian. Let's go.
And so that is the end of the show. Thanks everyone for sticking with us. Shaun, don't go anywhere. We have one more sort of segment here. Okay. Well, I just gotta change some things real quick.
Go check out Jess on the Twitters at Higher Fire Team. Shaun is also on the Twitters, as well as myself.
So Shaun, this is a segment. This actually becomes the intro of the YouTube upload. So Rob is going to come in hot, amp people up, and then be like, Shaun, what did we have? What did we see today? And then you can sort of run down through these lists of segments, maybe with a little bit of color or something, and then that will kick off the show. You got the assignment?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought Robert was going to do that right now. Just me.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
All right, what's up, everybody? I am back from March Madness, and I wrangled not only the best-looking Canadian, but one of the smartest CRO people on the planet from Audit. Fantastic name, wonderful branding. Shaun is going to take us through all the amazingness. Shaun, welcome.
Thanks, Rava. Okay, so we went through guest in 10 seconds, which I completely failed miserably. Literally no one knows anything about me from that. DTC News of the Week. Jesse had a lot of hot topics to go through. Fast Survivor. We punted off Creative OS and brought in Heat Map. We basically punted Chase and brought Chase back.
It's like the Where's Waldo.
Yeah, and he's messaging me on the side, bitching about it. I'm like, dude, we fucked you out here. Crow about it. Dug into some Crow stuff pretty deep.
He said it.
Gave away some amazing merch, and then Robbo went through his digital home aficionado breakdown.
Yeah, you're gonna love the show.
Full send.
Okay, great. All right, I'm gonna cut the live stream, and I'll see you guys in the green room real quick.
Sounds good. Thanks everybody for watching.